Struggling tonight, as always. Anyways, welcome back to another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys here with Nate, Stice, and Trevor. How are we doing tonight, fellas?
Doing all right, man. Hopefully better than you with this.
Oh, my God.
It's all right. You'll get it, man.
Every time I think, we're gonna do better next show, we do worse. I'm not sure. Maybe I got to get like some IT guy on hand while we do these episodes. But a couple things before we start here. We got NFL talk, MLB talk, and a little mixture of some sports coming from Nate as well. Want to give a shout out to our new sponsor, AE Diesel Services. Alex Emmerich, thank you for sponsoring this episode. It looks like it's going to be a long partnership here, fellas. So we're very honored and blessed to have him. One more announcement before we get into the news as well. We do have a call-in number now. So if you want to call in during the show, we'll try to sneak it in some segments here. It might be during mine, Nate, or Trevor's. We'll try to help you out there. The number is 1-917-725-5920. So at any time during the show, I'll try to answer that call for you and try to get your question answered if you're not asking the question in the comments. All right, let's get into the fucking news here, folks. So Stefon Diggs has arrived to training camp. What do we think here, fellas?
I think Trevor's gone. I don't know why.
Oh,
there he is.
Trevor. Well, okay, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know what the hell's going on.
I don't know what happened there. But anyway, so Stefon Diggs shows up to training camp. Do you think the bumps and bruises are smoothed out here, or what do you think's going to come with this?
It's good enough for now.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's good enough for now, and that's all it needs to be.
Okay.
I think Trevor and I have spoken about this a little bit. This is the Bills' opportunity closing here. You have an unhappy wide receiver who I think is about 30 years old or so, give or take. You got Josh Allen, who's making a crap ton of money. You had your defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier, step away because he can't take this stress anymore. And you kind of have a new running back quarterback there. Hines is out for the season. Unfortunately, that's going to stink. Maybe that'll incentivize a pickup of a Dalvin Cook or somebody like that of the sort. Ezekiel Elliott, I don't know. Seems like Zeke might go back to Dallas. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see what they do. But, yeah, I think this is bigger than Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen. I think it's truly a whole unit of the Buffalo Bills is in trouble, and it's the offensive line. It starts at the line of scrimmage. They haven't been able to block the run game well enough, and I think that's really why they haven't been able to win a Super Bowl over the last handful of years here. They've had close enough to the team for sure. I just think at the line of scrimmage is where they're weak, and I don't think they addressed it. So will be interesting to see if they can give Josh enough time back there. Running back some holes this year, and hopefully Diggs and Allen can continue to do what they've done best, which is be one of the best duos in the National Football League for the last 3 or 4 years here. But it's good enough for now, Drew, I think.
Okay. Trevor, what do you think here, buddy?
Real quick, Drew, before I kind of get into things, there's like a beacon of light shining behind you. I think I see the second coming of Jesus on your screen. Yeah. Anyway, Josh Allen, Stefon Diggs, going to be business as usual, I hope. Diggs, a lot of yards, a lot of receptions, a lot of touchdowns. He's going to be well worth drafting in any sort of fantasy format. I don't know if all the wounds are healed in that relationship, but they need to be healed enough to where they get it on the field. As long as they can get it on the field, they can create magic. Now, how much magic they're going to be able to create, we don't know. The Bills, their problems have really shown in the playoffs in these last several years. And obviously last year they had a hell of a lot more to deal with, injuries on the defensive side and, the whole DeMar Hamlin situation. They had to deal with more than a lot of teams in the NFL. So they might get a bit of a pass for last season, at least in my humble opinion they do. But at least that whole situation with Stefon Diggs has ironed out. I think the media made a little bit more of it than what was there.
Right.
But, ultimately we're not there, so we don't know. Maybe there was something to it, but like I said, they're going to get on the field. They're going to work their magic. They're going to be just fine.
All right. No, and we hope they do. Nate, you brought that point up, Hines going down. That's a major blow to the running back course. So, and we were talking about it, bitching about how Josh Allen can't be the whole run game this year. Well, we'll see what happens, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. They still have Damian Harris,
Yep.
and they still have little Cook, younger Cook.
Younger Cook.
Yeah. So he came in and I think he fumbled his first game. They put him in the doghouse, and then he kind of came out there the last few games, and he did really well again. James Cook, I believe, just came to me. But I think he's a pretty good player too, pretty good bargain player. But I think they'd like to have Hines, and we'll see what they do. I think that they'd benefit from having another running back there. But heck, you don't even know. I'm not going to say I'm an expert on the Bills roster. Maybe they have somebody in the works or something they undrafted that's also there that might come out of the woodwork and be just fine.
Right.
So someone did come out of the woodwork, Nate, and this is a guy that seems to have been coming out of the woodwork for quite a few years now. They got Latavius Murray.
Oh,
he's the third running back listed on their depth chart. He always seems to surface somewhere, even though he's 31, 32 at this point. I don't know. He just keeps popping up on depth charts and he gets random touches.
Yep.
He just fits randomly into offenses. And I don't know what he's going to do with the Bills with Harris and Cook being those first two lead backs, but at least they have some sort of depth at that position.
Yeah. Damian Harris gets banged up pretty quickly. He's kind of had an injury history. Lat Murray's pretty dang durable. He plays a lot of games. Cook is,
amazingly, yes. Yeah.
Cook is their passing game guy, but Mr. 1 year deal, Lat Murray, not surprised that he pops up once again, pretty consistent running back considering he's been on various teams. He's had a nice career and hopefully he has another good year. He had a good year last year considering he wasn't even on a roster for the first half of the season or a little bit less than that. But I think he could have some potential there with Buffalo, especially goal line situations. He's great in the red zone and all that good stuff.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And then just switching over to other news with the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert's big, mega deal here, 5 years, $262.5 million deal. What do you guys think here? I mean, putting too many eggs in one basket here, or what do we think?
It's the way the league's going now. All these teams are putting a lot of eggs into their quarterbacks. They want to keep them around. I mean, you got your Patty Mahomeses of the world. Joe Burrow's going to get a deal coming up. It's just the way it is. Same thing with we were just talking about the Bills. Josh Allen, they're paying him dump trucks full of money. It's the way the league is. It's the way the league is trending, and hopefully, we're all hoping here that Kenny Pickett plays well enough that he'll get truckloads of money at some point. But no, I'm not surprised by it. Justin Herbert's easily one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league. I believe he was ranked second in fantasy behind Patty Mahomes a couple years ago. Obviously dealt with the rib injury last year, but even still played through that. Even though I still harbor some feelings for that blown playoff lead against the Jaguars that I lost money on. I don't blame it on Herbert too much. Like I said, he was dealing with that injury. He was gritty throughout the whole season. He carried that team along with Eckler pretty well considering all the injuries that they had to deal with. And I've touched on the ineptitude of their coaching staff enough. So,
right. Yeah, I think that's it's a quarterback league. Pretty much you said that in a roundabout way, Trevor. It's the sexy position of the league, the sexy position in sports. In terms of the financial situation, it surely is not the sexy position. If anybody's watched Quarterback, the Netflix documentary, there's a lot of non-glamorous part to this career, this position. They get absolutely trucked. They got to learn so many different things, so much asked of them, and then you got to have a family and this and that and the other thing, move around, whatever their situation is. There's a lot to be asked for quarterbacks. So certainly what I'm getting at is Justin Herbert, if you're a top 5 talent in this league, you got to get paid like it. And I think he just did. So good for that guy. Pretty humble guy. Got a lot of weapons around him. I don't know what their future of their team is going to look like. They have a lot of weapons at the moment. You know, they got Austin Eckler, who hasn't been happy about his money. You know, you got Keenan Allen that's kind of been in and out of injury. You know, when he missed the first 10 games last year with a hamstring injury, just couldn't seem to get it healed.
Something like that,
You know, you got Mike Williams that seems to do the same situation, tweak his hammy all the time. Drives fantasy owners crazy. Thankfully, I just refuse to draft because I won't deal with it. But yeah, they got a first round wide receiver again out of TCU. He's supposed to be, you know, pretty good. Joshua Palmer, they think he might even end up being fourth receiver on that team now, which is crazy. And then you got a very competent tight end, very, very underrated tight end, Gerald Everett. So they got weapons galore. You know, basically it's can the coaches manage the game? Will people stay healthy for once? And will their defense and special teams make kicks and hold someone for once in their stinking lives? Because it's rarely ever been the San Diego or Los Angeles Chargers offense that's been the problem. It's been kicking game, it's been coaching, and it's been defense. So honestly, I never have anything against this team. Just put it together, you guys. I mean, it's kind of annoying to watch this happen all the time to them.
Yeah. No. And just to touch on too, and I don't know if you guys saw this either. Nate made mention of the quarterback documentary on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, it's very good. You know, it gives you the background scenes of the disaster that their bodies go through and also the triumphs. But did you guys hear that Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields were supposed to be, they were petitioned to be in that? And, you know, I'm going to make a little sly comment to Jalen Hurts. No offense to him. It's just because he's the Eagles quarterback. I don't think he wanted to relive and watch back him losing a Super Bowl. I think that's why he denied the contract. But nevertheless, no. One other thing I got to touch on here, and I think this is one of the most interesting deals I've seen come out of the draft. There's been other ones, Nate, Trevor, that we've seen. Jamarcus Russell, that's been a disaster. I sent it to you guys in our group chat. Wanted to get you a little spiced up for tonight. CJ Stroud's 4-year deal for $36.2 million. It's already 100% paid up. So he's already been paid that money. Do you think that's idiotic by the Texans? Or, I mean, that's just a common move by them. Not saying this guy's going to get hurt. I don't want him to do that. But $36 million, you're just throwing at a guy. He hasn't even touched the field yet, Nate. Trevor, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's again, quarterback league, and $36 million up front in today's league. That's not a whole lot. I know it's for a rookie. I know there's considerations for that, but the Texans think they found their guy. I mean, the Texans kind of have a recent history of this. They thought they found their guy with Schaub. They thought they found their guy with freaking Osweiler. They thought, and I guess they think they found their guy again in CJ Stroud. And I've stated on this program before, I think he's the most pro-ready quarterback to come out of this draft. I think he's going to have a lot of success in this league with, guys like John Mechie that's coming back. The Texans don't have a whole lot of weapons, but do I think Stroud can be a competent quarterback and have a decent season? Yeah, absolutely. Are the Texans going to do anything? Probably not. Will CJ Stroud do some stuff? Yeah, no, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. And of course, I think it was a move too for the Texans to beef up on the back end, whether it's through the draft or free agency, to try and fully rebuild this thing.
Right. What do you think, Nate?
I mean, that's what the market's going for now. Pretty similar deal to Bryce Young. I mean, these guys are getting a lot of money straight up to be unsure. I mean, they're probably pretty close to sure things, I'd think, but you never know. I mean, there's been a lot of guys that you thought were sure things and they weren't. So good for them for getting that money. They're set for life as long as they don't make any stupid mistakes and silly mistakes.
Right.
But Bryce Young got inked. He's got a better team around him, I think, right off the bat than CJ Stroud does. Although the Texans, I think that they have a chance to build something potentially. Just going to take them some time. Got to get them some weapons there and stuff. They're trying to do that. But yeah, I think that the Texans could truly still be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I just don't think they have it, unfortunately, yet. I think it could take some time. And yeah, I think that good for them. They got the money and they deserve it. They worked probably all their lives to do it. So it's cool, but I mean, it's just crazy that These dudes are like 21 and 22, getting like 36 and $38 million or whatever it is.
Right.
And they haven't even taken a stab yet in this league. It's crazy.
Right. No, and it's just, they all, I'm happy for them. It's just like some of these franchises. I mean, we don't need to dive into it. I said a lot of off-color things last season about him, but Deshaun Watson having the Browns bring him, that was another bonehead contract. I'm not even comparing it to this, but I mean, it's just these franchises, they find their guys, they like them for some reason, and they don't give a shit. They'll write the check, and that's just how it goes. But one team that's struggling to write the check with their star running back, you like that tie in there, Nate? That was a little Josh Jacobs they're not wanting to sign him to a major deal. And, he's on a 1 year, 10 just basically a 10 mil franchise tender. And he is currently not under contract, and he has yet to sign it. So the interesting thing, though, about this, Nate, and I shout out to his agent or lawyer or whatever, but he doesn't get fined for not going to training camp because I guess it falls under that, franchise. He doesn't have to sign it, so he doesn't get tagged with that 50,000 missing practice. Do you think they make a deal here, or is Josh Jacobs going somewhere else? I mean, it's been a hot topic among me talking shit to the Raiders fans.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere else.
Okay.
I just think that he's gonna I've heard they're far apart, and I heard Josh Jacobs sat out in the parking lot, as the clock kind of winded down on signing these tags and signing new term or long-term deals and stuff. Right. And he hoped, and his agents were in there, and they said, no, we're not going to make this deal. And he sat there and waited to the very, last second and said, all right. And he left very disappointed, and they're still kind of far apart on these talks. So, I know that they've had these all running back meetings and things of this sort. So, it's pretty interesting how this has happened. And I don't know what the solution is, but I really hope it's not like we're going to fixate this position and make it so that they have to get paid X amount of money. Because, I think that it's their team. They should be able to structure the team however the heck they want. If they can find 5 running backs that will each get paid $2 to play running back, then whatever. I mean, I understand you got to set a minimum. I'm not thinking that. But, if you have 5 running backs that you can all pay the veteran minimum or the rookie minimum, and you can spend all this money on offensive receivers and the line and defensive line and whatever, then do it. It's your team. I don't think that they should say well, you have to pay every running back X amount of money, and you got to pay them, if they're a veteran and if they have achieved this, then this is the market for it. Kind of like the NBA does that, but I don't know. That seems like the way that they're going. And yeah, I don't think Jacobs is going anywhere. Just give it some time. We'll see what happens.
Right.
Yeah. Right now, I believe they can, any free agent that's still out there can only sign a 1 year deal at this juncture.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And to your point, Nate, Josh Jacobs waited out in the parking lot with Max Crosby sitting next to him, waiting for a long-term deal as the clock expired right on that. One of the more, dare I say, heartbreaking tales of this running back saga that we're currently entrenched in. I don't know. The Raiders are going to be the Raiders. And if they're not going to sign Josh Jacobs, I don't even know who. I couldn't even name you another running back on that team. I can barely name anybody on that team anymore, other than maybe Crosby, Renfro, I guess Garoppolo and Jacobs. But that team has just been so patriotized by Josh McDaniels, and it's driven Raider fans nuts, and it's driven me nuts for Raider fans. Right. Normally, I don't sympathize with Raider fans, but I kind of have to this season. Especially, I have a lot of relatives that are Raider fans. They complain to me and bitch and moan all the time. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. I got you. But the Raiders would be idiots for not signing him. He's, NFL's leading rusher last year. He's an all-world talent. It's just, to me, it's a no-brainer. But, of course, like I said, we're in this running back saga that we're in. The running backs aren't getting paid.
The other thing is they're thinking about cutting Hunter Renfrow.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen conversation about that. Yeah.
So there's potential that they could cut Hunter Renfrow. They already traded Darren Waller, and they don't have Josh Jacobs under contract that's willing to come in yet.
As of now, yeah.
So you lost 3 of your top 5 offensive players from last year, or they're in cahoots, or they're up in arms about stuff. Derek Carr's gone. You drove him out of town. Maybe he deserved it. I don't know. We're going to see about that.
Right.
And
Jimmy Garoppolo, Nate. His foot.
You never know about him either. Is he ever going to play? Is the dude ever going to play? Is he going to play 3 games and get hurt for 10 again? I mean, I feel bad, but
I do.
He's unreliable.
And then freaking Aiden O'Connell's going to come in from the 3rd stringer and be slinging to Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
the Purdue product.
Yeah, just as we all would expect,
Right.
Yeah, right.
No, but I guess swinging over a little bit to conversation, a highly respected guy in our eyes, I think Naji Harris. He's asked this at training camp. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but he kind of pulls out the salaries. I know we touched on it, Trevor, last week. He throws out here running backs are less than 1.79, fullbacks are 1.72, and then long snappers are a mil, and punters are 1.5. I didn't throw the kickers in, Nate, because I agreed with you with the kicker thing. So, but he throws those stats out, and he's just saying the position asks for a certain amount of money because of all the they're like the Swiss Army knife on the field, which I agree with them, but we got to watch. Najee needs to watch because the Steelers don't want another Juju Antonio. Let's calm down. I know he's heated about the position, but what do you guys think?
Yeah.
You think that's just one-time deal? He throws something out there, or is he going to be advocating for this?
He also started that statement saying this is not a reflection on the Steelers organizations, their opinions, or the Rooney family, or Mr. Khan. Yep. So make sure we include that because he was pretty respectful in his words about saying this. And I just feel like, that he's pretty much obligated to say that. Like, he wants to go make another contract too. He doesn't want to be like, well, I want to keep playing on the minimalist amount of money that I can when I can beat the crap out of myself. I mean, what did he set the rookie record for catches out of the running back position in NFL history in a season or something pretty close?
Yeah.
Yes. Dude got the ball a lot, and he played behind a crap offensive line, especially his rookie year. It was pretty poor. Wasn't the greatest last year, but it got better as we were going. Yes. But anyways, he's got a point. It's just difficult, just because you're kind of like saying like, well, you don't think we're worth that? Is this position? Like, now all the punters are going to be mad and all the long snappers are going to be mad. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like, it's like, I don't know why you would do that, but
I know.
I understand these guys are Swiss Army knives, but some of them aren't necessarily that way because they're also going with this running back by committee. So it depends on the running back, the system, the team, all that sort of stuff. Because like Lat Murray, he's not your passing catcher. Like, he might catch 2 passes a year. He doesn't do that. Right? Damian Harris, similar situation. He's a lot of the run game. But James Cook might get 50, 30, 40, 50 catches. And he's going to get less running between the tackles, though. So it just depends on the system, the player, the situation. But there's some relevance to it. But truly, like I said earlier, you got to build this team how you want it. That's why I believe.
Right. And we'll get off the topic here, but just real quick, it's gotten to the point that it's trickled down throughout the league, Nate. It's like a fucking volcano that erupted. The Los Angeles Chargers had to have set up a Zoom call with Austin Eckler because he's concerned about his future deals as well. Right. So, you get this one guy that says some shit or doesn't agree with the team, and then the team, the rest of the guys in the league's like, yeah, I get what the fuck he's doing. You know what I mean? And now I think everybody at that position, if you were drafted this draft or, you've been in the league for 5 years or you're a veteran, I think they're concerned, So I don't think we're done with this. I think this is going to be a long-lasting issue. And then I think it's going to be another position. And I don't know. I don't know. What do you think tackles this issue?
I think that probably the NFL Players Association and the league look at the collective bargaining agreement the next time it's up, or they make an addendum. I think that's the way you solve it.
Okay.
Because the teams don't give a crap. They don't. Right. They got to run their team. They got to run the team the best that they can. Right. So I think that's probably the situation that it'll come to, and I'm sure it's going to be brought to the attention of the Players Association and the league. League already knows. The Players Association already knows, but they can only talk about it in a window of time, I believe. So I think the next time that they can talk about it, it'll probably be one of the hot topics on the press.
Okay. No, I mean,
to your point, Nate, Oh, sorry to interrupt you there, Drew. To your point, Nate, the CBA expires in March of 2030. So
Yeah,
if that's the solution, we're going to be waiting a while. But obviously, they can throw addendums in there and fix it up.
Right. That's how I think they would solve it if they do. Because I don't know what you do.
Like you said, Players Association is going to have to step in. They're going to have to fight their asses off for it, as well they should.
Yeah.
Right. And, another topic here, and then we'll swing over two more, and then we'll swing over to Nate's, take here. Who, in your guys' eyes, this is a new thing to the show. I've never asked the question to any co-host or guest. Most underrated player in NFL history.
Ooh. Wow.
Everybody's like overrated. Okay, well let's talk about underrated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I can go first here. I got somebody in mind that I don't think's got enough respect, and actually, I think the reason he hasn't got the respect is because of the team he played for. Fred Taylor for the Jacksonville Jaguars, hell of a running back. I mean, Nate, he's 42nd in all-time rushing.
Yeah.
Touchdowns, he's up there in the high 30s. Do you think he's just not going to ever make it to the Hall of Fame because he's a Jaguars player?
I think he's 10,000 yard club too.
10,000 yard club.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
And he's said it before. He's like, I think that the market I played in didn't help me at all. Right. Thankfully he went to the Patriots later on. That gave him a little bit of recognition, even if he wasn't even the same Fred Taylor as he was. I think he's someone that'll get in eventually. Okay. I do agree. He's one of the most underrated players in the history of the game. 100%. That was a really, really great selection.
Yeah.
He's a great one. Really, really good. And I really think Fred Taylor is a pretty stand-up guy too. If you listen to him on the Pivot podcast, he's a pretty stand-up guy. So, and
that's what caught my eye watching him on there. I'm like, what the fuck? This guy, I haven't heard anything about him in a long time. But what do you guys think? Most underrated?
Wow.
I got one in mind if you need a minute there, Nate.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I think it just had to do with the talent he was surrounded by. Marshall Faulk. I think he gets overlooked quite a bit because of the obviously, greatest show on turf, that Rams passing game with Isaac Bruce, Kurt Warner, and the like. Ricky Prohl, of all people, as well. But no, I think Marshall Faulk, as a Swiss Army knife running back, constantly gets overlooked in the annals of NFL history. I think he quite frankly revolutionized the position way before it was due to be revolutionized. Him, along with I'll throw this guy's name in the same breath, Warwick Dunn. Warwick Dunn had a bit shorter of a prime, and honestly, Warwick Dunn might be a little bit more underrated than Marshall Faulk, just because he had a short prime, but his prime was very, very solid. But no, I'll say Marshall Faulk.
Yeah, that's a good one. One guy that kind of comes to mind for me, kind of got stuck in San Diego for some really long, I think it was his whole career, kind of some really, really difficult teams, was Kellen Winslow Sr. He's one of the greatest tight ends of all time, kind of one of those guys that didn't quite change the position, but one of those trend-setting guys that changed the position, because there was Ditka and a few guys before him, but he was kind of one of those guys in the 70s, 80s that kind of did that sort of stuff. Could block, could go out for passes, catch a lot of passes, very good athlete. So I think that's one of the guys that I think is overlooked. I think that the one year they went to the Super Bowl and he was just like carrying them. And I mean, it is a tight end to carry a team. Like that's pretty impressive stuff, to be recognized as your team's best player as a tight end doesn't happen very often. Gronk and Kelsey are maybe the only other ones that, in Gonzalez maybe, kind of in that category too, with carrying their team, maybe their team's arguably best player at points. Mm-hmm. So I'd say Kellen Winslow Sr., I think he kind of gets lost in the shuffle a lot of times.
No, I agree with you. I just had to throw that out there because I just want to see people like our little takes there once in a while. You know what I mean? But really, Nate, I really don't have anything else. So, you go ahead. You take over. I'm trying to keep everybody 30 minutes increments so you get to your time. Because last time I went 45, and I'm like, I'm a fucking asshole for that. I apologize.
There were some good stories in there, though. That was a good segment.
We did.
I think we all took a lot of time last week, so I tried to cut my.
We did. Yeah.
No. You guys don't have to. I do. You go ahead.
So,
well, small talk at the end then.
Gonna start with fun fact of the week. I think I've shared it with Trevor. I've shared it with a lot of my good friends. I saw this on Twitter over the last few days. It's an amazing fact to me. You know, I don't know if we have any college wrestling fans watching or that ever have watched, but saw this factoid that I thought was very impressive. You know, obviously I'm a Edinburgh University graduate. I was a part of the last graduating class before it became Penn West Edinburgh and Penn West Clary and Penn West California. Well, in 2015, and for those that don't know, Edinburgh's got a Division I wrestling team, and a very storied one at that too. But in 2015, Edinburgh University Fighting Scots, they took third in the country in wrestling as a team. So yeah, I mean, that's great, but here's more context about that. So in Division I wrestling, teams are allowed to give up to 9.9 scholarships, whatever, 9.9, whatever the heck that is. Pretty much 10 full ride scholarships. However they choose to use that is up to the coaches and the university's athletic departments and so on. I think they can rosterize up to like 30 guys on the active roster. So, you could have up to about 10 scholarships for 30 guys. So you can give 10 guys a full ride and 20 guys nothing. You can give everybody something. How they choose to divvy that up is up to them. So with 9.9 in mind for, the highest of high programs, the best programs are giving 9.9. Penn State, Ohio State, Iowa, Michigan, whatever. They're all giving up the maximum. So to put this into perspective, Edinburgh in 2015 got third in the country. They gave out 3.5 scholarships for their entire team. It's a testament to their former coach, Tim Flynn, who is a Western Pennsylvania guy. So I love that, he's doing that in his home state. Now he's at WVU, not too far away, recruits a lot of, Western Pennsylvania, Central Pennsylvania kids still. What do you guys kind of think of that? So you don't really think of Edinburgh as a Division I program. You only have one, the rest of their athletic department's Division II, only 3.5 scholarships versus all these storied programs with full rosters of scholarships and all that good stuff. What do you guys think of them getting third in the country in 2015 with literally like a third of the possible resources that they could possibly have? I mean, to me, it's just incredible.
Was it Penn State, Iowa? Probably. It was 1 and 2.
It was Ohio State. I think that Ohio State was 1 and 2. Was one of them, and Penn State I think was the other one that year particularly, I think.
And those Division I programs have all the recruiting power in the world, all now the NIL power in the world.
Trevor, I didn't know if you want to take it. I'm very geared up for this because when Nate sent it, I was like, I hope he brings this up again because I really want to.
Go for it.
It's amazing, Nate, because for them to be such a small school, do that, and then like we talked about, kind of, I don't want to bash them because you went there, but like we talked about the downfall since then. And I think what happens is in every small Division I school, Bonus included, I'm not going to try to throw that too much in here, but those right? Is that right? NIL deals. See, I don't know. I don't, that's foreign to me because that wasn't around when I was running. I would have fucking loved to have one of those, but anyways, but no, I think that's really crushing these small programs. And it's sad that Edinburgh, I remember, I think around that time, I think there were some guys from our area that were up in Edinburgh. They were talking about the wrestling team and how all around campus it was a big goddamn deal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they were in the spotlight, and it's just, I don't know. It's very cool to see, but it's very sad to see how these you see it in football, Alabama, Penn State, basketball. I mean, all around these very successful programs are getting taken over by these powerhouses because of the money. And I get it. Trevor, I'm sorry for the long-winded there, but I just had to get that out there because it bothers the shit out of me. It bothers me so bad.
I wasn't long-winded at all. You hit the nail on the head. And we kind of knew that this was coming when NIL was essentially just dumped on us without a whole lot of regulation to kind of guide the way forward with it. There's some coming down the pike now, but a lot of it's like knee-jerk stuff. And it's a very reactive approach to this NIL deal, which I don't think they should have taken. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against NIL. I'm against the fact that we didn't have a path forward when we put it in place. So, and it just opened up the floodgates for all these D1 programs to do pretty much whatever the hell they want, and leaves the lower level D1 programs just to kind of suffer. I mean, we're seeing that now, even in football with the consolidation of the Power Five. A lot of the teams are moving to SEC, Big Ten. Where do money go? Teams go where do money go? And NIL is just, like I said, it's opened up the floodgates with that. That was always the case anyway, but it's just made the rich richer and the poor poorer. And unfortunately, Edinburgh was on the lower level in terms of that.
And by no means this program here, this conversation, if people are listening out there, we're not coming at the athletes taking the money. Fuck, if you put that money in front of me, I'm going to take that deal. You know what I mean?
No,
Absolutely it's. I just want to make sure no one takes it. You know what I mean? They just people.
Absolutely.
What I mean,
it's the governing bodies that kind of control this thing. That's my issue with it.
When this came out, and I believe it when this started, I had Danny on the podcast, Danny Singer. And we were talking after the thing because I just didn't know enough and I wasn't comfortable talking about it. But I was like, okay, there's no regulations. Some of these kids, no offense, I would do it too, are becoming millionaires in college. Yeah. That's a little concerning to every other. Like, hey, go ahead, take this, and you guys just go ahead and run with it. So every other program that doesn't have that kind of funding or have the alumni or notable people, you're fucked. I don't agree with that. That's just not fair playing grounds at all. I don't know. That was a good topic. I'm happy you brought it up.
Yeah. It definitely is a good topic, and definitely proud of those guys for the way that wasn't even in the NIL days. That was prior to NIL in 2015. So even they had just the pure scholarship number odds, and now it's the pure scholarship number. I don't know what it is today. I don't know. I'm not going to disclose that. I wouldn't do that to them. It's just this became public information 8 years later. I'm not trying to say anything negative about it, bro. No. They're doing the best they can. You know what I mean? So it's just a truly paying homage to them. I think that it's truly amazing. So, it is. Good for those guys that fought and those coaches that planned that out well. And
oh my God,
that's impressive for sure.
Yeah.
So speaking of home, obviously us three guys, Elk County guys, District 9 guys, wanted to pay some respects to some of these people that are moving on up or making moves in the sporting world. Wanted to give a shout out to Nate Beimel. Obviously, Beimel, the last name is synonymous with baseball, whether it's Joe, Mike, his father, Nate's father, rather, who's become a true legend in the game himself with training and, classes and travel teams and all that stuff. But Nate, graduate of an Ivy League school, Columbia University graduate, had COVID stuff, tore his arm apart. So he had a very unfortunate pitching situation there at Columbia, but still has a Columbia degree, incredible stuff. And now he's transferring to Pitt. I believe he's got 3 years of eligibility left, or 2 or 3, that is. Can get a master's degree, might have a chance to get drafted before that, have a chance to play for pro baseball before that, even if it's not getting drafted. So, shout out to Nate, really good kid. His brother Michael, really good guy too. I believe he's the head coach of the Olean Oilers, so that's pretty special too. He's doing that, and he's only in his early 20s. So shout out to him. Nate's former high school teammate, Jeffrey Whaler, started at El Catholic, obviously finished at Dutch. Was not drafted, fought his way through independent baseball, got picked up through the Blue Jays organization, was in Dunedin, Florida, low A, and he was recently just promoted to high A, Vancouver. So he's getting his passport ready. He's packing the bags, going from the nice beaches of southern Florida all the way up to Vancouver, Canada, on the whole other side of the continent. Heck of a promotion, very different location. Shout out to Jeffrey Whaler's worked his butt off. One of the most talented athletes that I ever took any playing field with. Truly an unbelievable competitor. Joining, crazy enough, Jeffrey Whaler in the Blue Jays organization is Bradford native Ryan Boyer, who's I actually shared the playing field with as well in baseball. Really, really great player, really good guy. Graduated from Bradford High School in 2015, graduated from Pitt Bradford, and then went on to Canisius College for his graduate year. Was not drafted, but was picked up by the Blue Jays as well. And he has worked his way all the way to AAA Buffalo. So pretty impressive stuff. He's 26 years old.
Wow.
Another guy in the Blue Jays organization. Obviously, the Blue Jays are looking for these D9 guys. Former Punxsutawney and Penn State catcher Ryan Sloninger was drafted by the Blue Jays and also made it into their farm system and played 2 years, I believe, professionally. Now he's a coach at Kent State. So they're all over District 9 looking around. The Blue Jays are.
Nice.
Right.
Pretty
And yeah, no, Nate, and it's good. And I actually haven't told anybody this. We are working on, in the off season, in fall, winter, we will have Jeff Whaler coming on. So that was kind of a cool tie-in.
Great.
So we'll have him on
Nice.
for us three to talk to him. So that was very cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
No, what he's doing, I tell, I don't want to take over your segment, Nate, but I tell all the, young athletes I talk to or interact with, does not matter where you're from.
Right.
You can still make it. You just, if you work your ass off, your dreams, you can go anywhere. I mean, that's just a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? And I talk to these people, and you guys probably experience it. Big cities, they have freak athletes, and a lot of kids going pro. Our area, that's not a common thing. So when it happens, it's a pretty big deal. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I just had to throw that out there. Just had to throw.
I mean, to go from AAA to go to AAA undrafted, that's got to be pretty damn rare, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it happens. It doesn't happen super often, but it's becoming more often because there's less draft picks. So now it's going to become more
That is
often.
true. Yeah, that is true.
That's just kind of how it's going to have to be. But yeah, I mean, there was 60 rounds, then there was 40 rounds, and now there's 20. And then the one year there was 5. So yeah, there's going to be more undrafted. But yeah, it's still very special. And the thing about Ryan in particular, I believe he didn't even start playing pro baseball until he was 23 or 24. And in 2 or 3 years, he's worked his way up. And Jeffrey he didn't even get started in pro MLB affiliated baseball until 22 or 23. He was an independent ball at 22 or 23, and he's 23, 24 now. And in a few weeks, honestly, he's already moved up a classification once he finally got a chance. So good for those guys for going after it for sure. Couple other things I wanted to talk about from home. Brookville native Jace Miner, for you guys that don't know, he was one of the best left-handed pitchers to come out of Pennsylvania. I believe it was 3 years ago. He played at Brookville. He played at Wichita State his first 2 years, and now he's in the Big 12, soon to be SEC with Oklahoma. He recently transferred to Oklahoma. Pretty crazy athlete, left-handed southpaw pitcher, but also helped lead Brookville to the state title game in basketball his senior year as well. So shout out to Jace, doing some really special things. Not often that guys come from Brookville, PA into the Big 12 and now eventually the SEC. That doesn't happen every day either for any sport. So pretty good stuff. 2 other things. Wanted to give a shout out, long overdue, to Harley Thompson, a great, phenomenal runner. He took 4th overall in the Pittsburgh Marathon and 94th overall in the Boston Marathon. Obviously Drew knows him well. Elk County Catholic product and St. Bonaventure product, much like Drew. Pretty amazing stuff. Truly, I don't think he gets enough credit as being as good of an athlete as he is. So I wanted to give Harley some flowers for sure. He more than deserves it, no question. Last thing I wanted to say about home is the DuBois Dream. I'm not sure if you guys have been following that. They almost won their first game ever in the TBT, the basketball tournament. They narrowly lost to Best Virginia, which is like West Virginia Alumni and Company. They lost 70-68. And, some of these guys for Best Virginia, West Virginia, whatever, they've been playing. They played together several times. They know each other. They played in the same systems, in college. The DuBois Dream picked up free agent guys and a few guys that have played together. And they almost went out and beat a bunch of Division I guys that played for the same college, or a lot of them.
Right.
That's from little old DuBois, PA.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Pretty impressive.
Definitely impressive what, Albert Varichello and company have done for that organization over the last few years. So I wanted to give them a shout out as well. Hopefully they'll get a chance to play in that again. I know they had, I think, 2 other times before, and then a few years they were off on hiatus. They didn't get selected, other priorities, whatever. but it was good they were back, and hopefully moving forward, this is a sign that, they can get even better players, win some games, get some momentum, more funding, whatever it may be. So really, really good story from back home. So just a couple other small things I want to talk about. That was the last kind of segment of from home. But one thing we didn't talk about in NFL news, I thought it was kind of interesting. Jimmy Graham, 36 years old, did not play in the NFL in 2022. He re-signed in New Orleans for a homecoming there. I got not technically a homecoming, but a reunion, I should say. 1-year deal, 36 years old. What do you guys think of Jimmy Graham being an NFL tight end again after a year hiatus? Do you think this guy's going to make the team? Because that's a pretty loaded offense.
I think he is the definition of when I think of a safety net player, Nate, Jimmy Graham, like if you need that first down or that touchdown, kind of, if you look back to, when Drew Brees was there and they were on that Super Bowl run, he played a major part. So, he's 36. I think he can still do it. I think he makes the team. I'm not sure who they have at tight end right now.
They got some players.
Okay.
They do. They got Johnson, and a couple other guys, Taysom Hill. I know Hill's not used as a tight end.
It's fucking all over the place.
Yeah, but they got a loaded offense. They got a lot of players that can play. Yeah. So, crazy enough, Jimmy Graham was a touchdown leader in the NFL the 1 year. He was all pro the 1 year, 5-time Pro Bowler. Right. Really, really great player. So I have nothing but respect for him. I thought he was done. I actually kind of thought he had announced his retirement. I was surprised that he got kind of just kind of came out of nowhere. Got lost in the shuffle with all this different other news. Excuse me. But yeah, good for that guy. It's pretty cool to see him back in a Saints uniform, kind of where this all started. He had hardly any football experience, and heck, in a couple of years, he was one of the best tight ends and pass catchers in the league. It's pretty impressive stuff.
He was he was good at basketball, right, Nate? Was he at basketball?
Played at the U. Yep.
Okay, because I was going to say Antonio Gates is another guy that comes to mind that kind of was more primarily a basketball player, which everybody said LeBron could go ahead and play NFL. I don't think he could take a hit, but I think he could do some shit. It's just kind of cool to see how those two sports intertwine with each other with the athleticism. But Troy, what do you think with that?
Yeah, just to expand on who the Saints have at tight end, they also have Foster Moreau. Yeah, so
crazy.
They definitely got some guys, some studs for Derek Carr to throw to, along with Kamara, Olave. They still got Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith. They're going to do just fine. Jimmy Graham, I don't know if he'll probably make the team, right? He kind of has to.
You'd think, but
you'd think. They moved Taysom Hill around, so Jimmy Graham's probably just going to be the third string tight end permanently, and then the Saints are going to be the Saints. They'll just fit in Taysom Hill wherever they can. Good for Jimmy Graham though. Great for Jimmy Graham. He's had a hell of a career with the Seahawks, I believe. He was on the Seahawks for a little bit, just most recently with the Bears, and now back with the Saints. He's had a very, very long career, very successful one. And of course, wish him all the best. But 36 is old.
Yeah.
For a couple years NFL, for an NFL tight end.
Yeah. I think he'll probably make the team just because of the legendary status, but I don't know. I hope he makes it. With the PR surrounding it and the legend that he is in New Orleans, he kind of has to. Right.
I think it'd be a kick in the balls if he didn't.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's bring you in. We know you're out of shape. You haven't played in a year. Hey, we'll give you a chance, Jimmy. And then he's on waivers. Bye, Jimmy.
You never know. They got a team to run, though, man. If you come in that out of shape, they're going to be like, this is ridiculous. Get out of here. I don't care if you were here and did well before, but I think we'll probably make it either third.
He's a unit, though.
Yeah, he's 6'7", 265. He's an absolute freaking massive unit. And he can jump like crazy. Mm-hmm. And he's faster than the average 265 guy.
I once saw him make, and weirdly enough, I was watching this game on Nickelodeon. Yeah, I guess they're doing the. Yeah, exactly, Nate. My reaction exactly. I don't know. I happened to flip it on at the end of a Bears game, and I saw Jimmy Graham just make a one-handed catch to make the final score like 23-9 or something like that. The Bears lost, but but more on him. 713 career receptions, 8,500 yards over that, and then 85 touchdowns as well. So he's been around the block, and he's had a very, very long successful career.
As far as tight ends concerned, he probably should be a Hall of Famer. I mean,
popped right in my head.
I would think so.
Some of the best numbers any tight ends ever put up.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good stuff for sure.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting thing I want to talk about from the NFL.
Oh, jeez. He once almost had 100 receptions in a season, 2011, with the Saints. 99 catches.
They
just kept throwing to him. Like, I think I remember a drive, Nate. I think they threw it to him every single time, and he scored the touchdown. I don't know who they were playing. I forget. God damn it, I can't remember.
He scored 11 touchdowns that year, and then 2 years later, for shits and giggles, I guess, 2013, 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns.
Yeah, touchdown leader in the league.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then 2 other seasons with double-digit touchdowns as a tight end. Pretty damn good.
Certainly helps that you got one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time throwing the ball, but hey, you got to catch it.
Yeah,
you got to get open.
Right.
You got to stay healthy. It's a lot to that.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if you throw it; guys got to catch it.
Right. Yeah. So, wanted to touch on Brawny James.
Yes.
Very scary incident that happened, earlier this week with him, taking part in some USC drills and getting ready for the season that's coming up. He went into cardiac arrest. Just crazy that you'd think someone of honestly, I feel like sometimes folks forget that like Brawny James is a human. Like he's like almost otherworldly. Some of these athletes are almost looked at as otherworldly. So this was kind of a humbling moment. And I don't mean it for him. I just kind of mean like for the world to be like, you know what, maybe we should like give this kid a break. Like maybe we shine the spotlight on this kid a little bit too much. Like there's a lot of pressure on this kid. He's obviously been blessed with some great genetics, very great talent. He's a great worker. But this kid's had some crazy medical situations in his life already. He's with COVID-19 in California. That's a lot. That's tough to go through, living in Los Angeles, but he's had some foot injuries, ankle injuries, a meniscus tear, and how the scariest one yet, cardiac arrest at 18 years old before he's even suited up for USC. What do you guys kind of think about what this kid's been through in the last few years here?
Trevor, I think back to Nate, Shaquille O'Neal's son. I forget his name. Sharif. Went through the same thing. I don't know if it was cardiac arrest.
It was a regular heartbeat, I believe.
I really think, and Eric and me touched on it months ago. I really think AAU, we really got to watch. These kids' bodies are going through a lot. And then, okay, so you're going to have to do that 1 year college. Okay. And then I'd rather it happen in college than NBA. But at any time, it's never a good thing. But I just think, let's not lie to ourselves here. LeBron can get the best treatment for the kids. You know what I mean? So like he's gonna be, hopefully he gets through it. But I'm just saying, I think parents, regular people, that aren't up to that superstar level, you really got to watch the kids. Taking care of their bodies. Yeah, they can perform, but okay, what's the after effects here? That are you taking care of your body? Recovering, all that. But yeah, no, it's a scary moment. But I've been seeing that a lot with, not even high profile athletes, other kids that are just getting these, problems with their heart or blood issues, just crazy shit. It's scary. It is.
Arthritis and a lot of bone injuries are getting a lot more common too in younger people.
Right. Yeah, it's terrifying.
First and foremost, I pray that, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I would, like you said, Drew, LeBron can afford the best healthcare in the world. So
Right.
granted he will be, but not to get all existential on y'all, but sometimes you don't know when the good Lord's going to call your name.
No, you don't.
You're right.
Yeah, thankfully didn't call Brawny's name yet. Because selfishly, I want to see him play. I want to see the talent that he has to offer the world and the basketball community. And it'd be cool to see him play with his father. As much as we might disagree on LeBron's GOAT status, but I had to slide that in there. He ultimately is, at least he projects himself to be a good human being and hopefully an even better father and man. And it would just be very cool. I think it would bring flashbacks to if you were alive during this Ken Griffey playing with his father.
Yeah.
So
special. That's special.
Oh yeah, it's rare. It's a once in a generation thing, if that.
Right.
So selfishly, I want to see that, but ultimately, take care of your health, kid. Basketball's not everything. Hopefully, he realizes that, and I hope he has a long, successful career as a basketball player. I think he can.
Yeah.
But I don't know if. Obviously, I'm no doctor. I can't make a diagnosis or anything like that. Hopefully, this isn't like, issue that carries into his college career and even his professional career. I'm just glad he's okay. Just glad he's okay for now. And I pray that he's okay for forevermore.
Yeah. I think it's just the human touch kind of gets lost sometimes with kids like that.
Yes.
I mean? He's like larger than life, and he says, he's just a high school kid, barely a college kid yet.
Right.
I just hope the kid, like you said, is all right first.
Right.
If he never touches the college floor, and God, I hope he does, or the professional floor. I hope he does. I hope this is not the end of his journey.
Right.
If it would be, and this is the ending moment, this kid's still a very accomplished young man. He is a top 100 recruit, a USC scholarship athlete, doing something that very few select people can do. Hopefully this is not the end of the journey, and hopefully I didn't just jinx this, but no. Pretty amazing stuff already, and hopefully this is, many amazing more things happen for this kid too, because he really does seem like a good kid. He really does to me.
Yeah.
So
no.
Last thing I wanted to end on. This is more of a positive note and very much unbelievable stuff. Wanted to touch about the greatest winning streaks in the history of college sports. Trevor and I have talked about these before with some of our friends.
At length, yes.
Yeah, some of these streaks are truly unbelievable. I don't think I'll touch on every single one, but I wanted to give a shout out to some of them that are truly just remarkable. Some of my favorites are the Miami, Florida men's tennis team. They did not lose a match from 1957 to 1964. They won 137 dual matches, singles and doubles in a row.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so pretty amazing stuff there. It's a really good one. Another great one, BYU Hawaii women's tennis. They also had a really great win streak, similar in the dual matches from 2002 to 2005. They won 130 in a row. I don't even know if people knew that BYU had a campus in Hawaii.
No.
Yes, they do.
News to me.
There are some Mormons and the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints followers in Hawaii. So there's need for a campus.
Right on.
Connecticut basketball is another one that comes to mind. 111 games in a row from 14 to 17. Gino and crew, unbelievable streak. So not much more needs to be said about that. I think that's been covered at length various times. Oklahoma men's gymnastics, the one that I don't think many people know about. From 2015 to 2009, they won 4 of 5 national titles. They were less than 1 point away from making it 5 of 5 in 2019. They were literally lost by 1 point. So pretty amazing stuff. And within that, Oklahoma's incredible streak, 4 consecutive titles, 121 straight wins, came to a close in that 5th straight national championship game, or match rather. 72 straight victories at home during that time too.
Wow.
incredible stuff.
Damn.
Absolutely incredible stuff. But my favorite streak, those are some great ones and well-deserving. The Trinity College squash team is the greatest winning streak in college sports history, and I don't think it's close. From February 1998 to January 2012, their team won 252 matches in a row. It is the longest winning streak in college sports history, and literally it's just nicknamed the streak. So 1998 to 2012, they did not lose a match. They won every national championship, every dual match, every single thing they were in. They won. Division III squash, and I'll be honest, I'm not even familiar with the game of squash very much.
I was going to ask you, what the fuck is squash?
What was that team, Nate? What was that team?
Trinity College, Division III.
Trinity College.
It's in it's a liberal arts college in the Northeast New England region.
Holy shit!
It is
an
incredible tradition.
Wow.
1998 to 2012, they did not lose a single match. 252 matches in a row.
I gotta look up what the fuck squash is, Nate. I'm sorry, that's just gonna bother the shit out of me for the rest of the show.
Learn a racquetball.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
That's my favorite.
To
beat that.
God.
Being a professional wrestling fan, the streak has a meaning with The Undertaker and WrestleMania, if anyone knows about that.
Oh yeah.
I just found a new meaning of the streak. 252. Is that what you said? 252 straight matches from 98 to 2012.
Yes.
I was born in 98, so it took them until I had pretty much gone through puberty to lose a match.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh,
that's crazy about that, guys.
That's amazing.
Is how many guys cycled through that and never screwed up, never got in enough trouble, or never up in a match, like never let the pressure get to them. Like, that's so many people that like didn't screw up enough to break. Like, nobody got sick enough. Like, they had enough depth to cover places. Like, it's just unreal. Like, there's so many variables that go into like playing a game.
All right.
Like, to win games in a row is just ridiculous. With all that to be considered.
Did they get moved up in division after this?
Nope.
So they're still Division III.
3 the whole time.
Wow.
Because they very much take their liberal arts college academics serious.
Right.
They spend a lot of their money on the educational components. It's a very expensive school.
Got it.
It's a very old school. It's a very, very good school.
Okay.
They've had Division III athletics for a long time, and the conference that they compete in is like one of the premier Division III conferences, not just for sports, but like for academics in the country. They're all very similar schools. They're very old. They're all liberal arts colleges. They have very, very sound traditions in sports and also in their arts, also in their English, sciences, all that stuff. So they all play together because they're in the same region. They're the same sorts of schools. So no, they would never moved up. And I don't think they ever will. It's just tradition at this point.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's fucking wild, though. Jesus Christ.
252 in a row. Holy smokes. That's all I had. I think that's to end on, man.
I'm
Nate,
surprised
2 weeks
you
in a
didn't bring
row.
up Nate, I'm surprised you didn't bring up the Penn State wrestling dynasty that's going on right now. That's another one. Since 2011, they've won 10 national titles.
Right. That's
only Ohio State and Iowa have interrupted that.
Right.
Bastards.
Yeah. That's pretty great stuff too.
That's
2 weeks.
Remarkable in and of itself, but 252, that's a big number.
No, 2 weeks in a row,
big
Nate. You came with some heat.
Yeah.
So just got to throw that out there.
Appreciate it,
Drew. We're gonna have to change the order here because
we can do that. I mean,
following Nate here.
If he wants to be the closing act, that's whatever.
I mean, it's cool to listen to this stuff and like mentally prepare for what I'm gonna say, but then I gotta follow it. I'm like, Nate, just hitting grand slams each and every week with these stories and statistics, and then I got to follow it with baseball.
In July. Hey, the trade. Man.
I guess. Yeah.
Well, I told you guys when the NFL hits, we'll just kind of more.
I know.
You got it. You kill it every week.
Baseball's dead to me come first week of preseason, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh.
But going back to another NFL thing before I touch on MLB, and I'm surprised you didn't bring this up, Drew. Aaron Rodgers took a $35 million pay cut over the next 2 years. So, two things. The Jets are all in. They want to win and win now.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've ever seen Rodgers take a pay cut to try and help his team.
I think the peyote.
He's doing it with the Jets, and he didn't do it with the Packers for all those years. Beats the hell out of me. I don't know. I mean, obviously, we saw TB12 for my money, the GOAT of football, take all sorts of pay cuts so they could bring in, every lacrosse player and short white slot receiver that they could, and win Super Bowls upon Super Bowls. Why Aaron Rodgers never did that, I don't know, but he did for the Jets over these next 2 years. He's still going to be making $75 million. He was going to make 110. Still making a lot of money, still taking up a good bit of the cap. But coming from that guy, that's surprising.
I got some thoughts on why. It's because he got to manipulate the roster with the Jets, and he never really got to do that with the Packers. They would never draft a first round. They would barely sign the games at all that they wanted him to have. I mean, gosh, to get Randall Cobb back on the team was like pulling teeth.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Your sixth stinking receiver. Just put him on the freaking team. Make him happy. Like, you got one of the greatest players of all time on your team. Put Randall Cobb on the roster. Like, holy crap. It's crazy.
Literally.
And not to overshadow, I don't want to take over your segment, Trevor, but you brought it up. The Packers, they're owned by the fans.
Yes.
So I don't know how it just seems like no disrespect to the Green Bay Packers organization, Green Bay, Wisconsin, but it's a fucking shit show when you have that going on because it doesn't seem like you can make any moves. I mean, God's sakes, they have one of the best coaches of all time in their franchise history, Lombardi. But it just seems like a kind of a disaster. I think the last 3 years for Rodgers, I don't think he wants to remember his career in Green Bay. It just seemed like a fucking shit show. Like, no offense, but I mean,
in terms of his relationship with the organization, in terms of his on-field play, that really never receded until last year. I believe during his COVID year, his touchdown to interception ratio was around 45-5. Quick math for you. That's a 9-to-1 ratio.
Nice.
Right.
So his play never took a dip, even with, his tenuous relationship. Obviously, with him taking up all the money, they couldn't. They had that great defense for the 1 year that they won the Super Bowl.
Right.
Other than that, they had some solid defenses throughout the years, but they never could get over the hump with that again.
Right.
And part of that was Rodgers was taking up a lot of the cap. But
right. Just real quick, because I don't want to take away your talk here with MLB, but there was a board representative. I don't know if you guys saw this. They're going to take, when they find the time necessary, they'll retire Rodgers' number. That kind of tells me, like, I don't know. That's a little swift kick in the ass and closing the door. Like, we'll take our time. Huh?
When you find the time, what does that even mean?
When the time's necessary. Yeah.
Like, what? Come on now.
When the time is necessary.
I don't know.
Wasted no stinking time to retire Brady. And they kind of ended on some sour grape terms a little bit.
Right.
Not to this same extent. But come on now. Still one of the greatest players ever.
Yeah. We can have after-hour talk. We'll add that segment after the MLB talk. We'll just throw some shit out there that we want to touch on.
Oh,
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Trevor.
One last thing on NFL before I move to MLB. This is the one thing on Brady that I will never forget. His last pass as a Patriot was a pick six.
Greatest moment of my life.
Mm-hmm. And of a lot of Steelers, Bills, Jets, and Dolphins fans' lives, yeah, and Titans.
And the last time he played the Steelers, he lost. And I will hold on to that for the rest of my fucking life. I will die happy.
Want to know against the GOAT? Kenny Pickett.
Second coming of Christ.
Even though he got injured halfway through the game, and Trubisky had to come in, but yeah, it counts to his record, I guess. All right, yeah. MLB. My God,
we're going off the fucking rails a little bit, but that's all right.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Cue crazy train.
We really want football to be here. We want football to be here. I brought this up on last week's program. Commissioner Rob Manfred, he was officially voted in for another term as commissioner. He'll be commissioner until January 25th, 2029. Hooray! I'll be 30. Anyway. Of course, MLB trade deadline coming up. Biggest news of the day, or of the last week, really. Shohei Ohtani off the trade market. And part of the reason why he is off the trade market, it looks like the Halos are going all in on this season. And I read a little bit of an article why that might be the best fit for them to keep Ohtani. Because if they go all in, they win the whole stinking thing, or even a playoff series, he might stick around.
Right.
But just to kind of emphasize the fact that the Angels are going all in, they acquired a couple of right-handed pitchers, Lucas Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez, in exchange for their number 2 and number 3 prospects in their farm system. Giolito just finished among the top 11 in AL Cy Young award voting for 3 years running, from 19 to 21. And side note, he threw a no-hitter against the Pirates on August 25th, 2020.
Yep.
When he was still with the White Sox.
Yep.
And this would, if the Angels were to make a playoff push, I believe they're a game and a half, or maybe a game now, out of a wild card spot. They swept the Tigers today in a doubleheader. And I honestly, I always forget this until I talk to a buddy of mine who's an Angels fan. Mike Trout has never won a playoff game with the Angels.
Nope.
They last made it in 2014. 2014, yep. Where they got swept by the Royals.
Yep. And the Royals were incredible then. They won the World Series in 15.
They were. They did. They beat the Mets. But that move will definitely help the Angels. They're 20th in bullpen ERA, and no one in their starting rotation other than Shohei Ohtani has an ERA below 4. So they needed pitching in the worst way possible. Actually, they're about 3 games out of a wild card spot as we stand today. I looked at their schedule, and they play a lot of AL Central teams, and they play the Athletics twice and the Tigers again. They have somewhat of an easy schedule. I think they can make a push for it, so it makes sense that they're buying right now. I don't know if they will make it, and I'll get you guys' thoughts on that in a second, but I just wanted to touch again on the greatness of Shohei Ohtani today. He completed, believe it or not, the first complete game shutout in the MLB this season with a 6-0, as the Angels won 6-0 today. He threw a 1-hitter with 8 strikeouts and 3 walks, although he did go 0 for 5 from the plate in the first half of the doubleheader. But to make up for it, in the second game of the doubleheader, when the Angels won 11-4, he just, he hit 2 home runs. Just casually hit 2 home runs.
Shit.
And he's leading the league with 38 home runs right now. Closest guy behind him, Matt Olson of the Atlanta Braves, with 32. Leading the MLB in home runs. He's got a 3.43 ERA. League leading home runs, and he's third in the MLB he was third in the MLB with 77 RBIs. Obviously, that's more now with the 2 home runs today. But are the Angels going to make it, boys? Can they do it, or are they just going to angel out again?
I don't think they're making it.
They choke every fucking year. They choke every year.
They do.
To be honest.
They are attacking. They are attacking their weaknesses. They don't have enough pitching.
No.
They're not done making moves. Right now, I'm going to say no.
Absolutely
Trout might be on the shelf throughout all of August still.
Fucking
So,
idiot.
that sucks. And here's the other one. My favorite player of all time, Anthony Rendon. He's also on the shelf for the millionth time. He is literally not playing. He has the worst contract in the history of the game. I don't even think it's close anymore. This guy doesn't play. He's like the Thin Lizzy of MLB. He's a one-hit wonder. It's insane.
Yep.
Get on the field. Stay healthy.
The boys are back in town.
Does Mike Trout, does his legacy get tarnished by he just can't fucking stay healthy? Because I had that conversation with a friend about that. That's big into baseball. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy's always hurt. And he kind of agreed.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's starting to get that way, unfortunately.
He got the money and he's fucked now.
He's got a degenerative back disorder. So he deals with that. And then, how he broke his wrist and he's had some other stuff. And he's still putting up insane numbers. When he's on the field, his numbers are still insane. It's just the quantity of staying in the quantity staying on the field isn't high enough to keep yielding, the home run or like a Hall of Fame career. He's still probably going to be a Hall of Famer no matter what he does now, just because in a short amount of time he did so much. But him and Judge, it stinks because they're two of the best players in the game. These guys can't stay on the field, and when they're on the field, they're unbelievable. They hit crazy number of home runs, RBIs, great plays in the field. They can run. You got to just stay on the field, guys. Though, and I know 162 games is a lot, but goodness gracious, I don't know. I don't even know what you can say. Wish they could get on there.
Right. There'll be one writer though that doesn't vote for him. That's what I hate about the Watch Trout. Watch. There'll be one guy.
There were a couple of writers that. There were a couple of writers that didn't vote for Ken Griffey.
Yeah,
that's another
goes to show.
Too. Now, 100% voted for Mariano Rivera. I think he's the only guy that ever got 100%.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
but so should have Griffey and probably Jeter too, and a couple other guys. What game do you guys watch? What? Or you don't watch it, but you write about it or something. Or he give you the same interview that he gave somebody else 30 years ago, and you're going to be pissed off about it to this day. So you're like, screw that guy. Not in the hall. You're not getting my vote, but everybody else in the freaking whole thing is going to vote for him. It's like, well, you really showed him. You
look like a jackass. Yeah. You're a jackass.
You're a jackass. You are. You're still in. No one's going to remember hardly that you didn't have one vote. Random conversations like this, but you're still in.
Oh, God.
Freaking in. Sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
No,
Sorry, I just get so fired up.
No. Y'all are good. Death, taxes, and Nate bringing up the Baseball Writers Association.
And Marcus Salt.
The three certainties.
There's three.
There's three. But yeah, Nate, you brought up Aaron Judge. He might return as soon as tomorrow. He has faced live pitching this past week, and Aaron Boone provided an encouraging update on him. They don't know if he can run yet, but he just might step up to the plate as a DH and just whack balls out of the yard tomorrow against the I believe they're playing the Orioles. So, yeah, that might happen. Of course, again, building on the trade deadline, our own Pirates have traded Carlos Santana to the Brewers. He was having actually a pretty solid season, 12 home runs, 235 batting average, and 53 RBIs. And I will say, Nate, you called it.
Yep.
You said in many a group chats that we're in, we should trade him. And we did. And we got a minor league shortstop out of it. So that's a Pirates move.
Why?
That's a Pirates move. I don't know.
You can play O'Neal Cruz with him. Why?
I guess, yeah.
Pitcher, please. Get only pitchers.
That just pissed me off. I'm fucking speechless again. I'm not going to say the Permanis line. I'm just. It's like being a dead horse. They just. Trevor, every time we bring up Pirates, it's just like ugly stepchild.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys. Owner, you need to sell the team. God, that's. It's just so stupid. So stupid. How many times have they done this though? Like, I'm not, you know how I am. I'm not too, but they got a farm league guy out of one of their big stars or one of their decent players, and then he doesn't amount to shit. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Oh, if we trade him, if we trade him, we'll get a future star because he's in the farm league and he looks really good. And then it never fucking happens. You got to get out of that mindset that you think every goddamn person's going to be Kutch. You trade for him. I mean, fuck.
I was telling Trevor the other day, I don't think you can trade anybody 1 for 1. I think you should trade 1 player for 6 players. I don't even care where they're at because pretty much the way that the Pirates have to run it is let's just get the sheer amount of as many individuals as we can that can lace up a pair of cleats and swing the bat out there. Right. And by pure math, we're going to have eventually 26 guys that are going to amount to something if we have a zillion guys to pick from. Right. You know, like that's how I think they have to do it. Like you could get like the 6 worst professional baseball players, and I think I'd be more happy than just getting a one shortstop from the Brewers that's going to sit behind O'Neill Cruz and not do anything. I'd rather have 6 random guys, honestly.
And he was beloved
in the minors, by the way.
Well, yeah, and that's going to stay.
Yeah, it's
fucking the guy. Yeah, I hope he succeeds. It's nothing against the guy. It isn't. It's against the Pirates for doing this crap. And then you trade Carlos Santana in the division. And I understand we're out of the race, but you give him right to the guys that you freaking hate. You give him right to the Brewers. Really? That was you guys rolled over. You rolled over to give it to him. Come on.
It looks pathetic. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's not a good message at all. No.
Gosh.
Trevor, if you want to get long takes, less information, you could just fucking put some Pirates headline in there, and me and Nate will give you 5-6 minutes.
I know.
I'm fucking pissed off.
My intention was to breeze by it a little bit, thinking, "Oh, this is just a Pirates move," but I hit the button. I poked the bear. I stepped on the elephant's toe.
We're not going to fuck up.
It is what it is.
We're going to fucking send out the second best guy because O'Neill Cruz is out, so we'll just fucking ship out the other guy. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Whatever. All right. Sorry, Trevor. Just get past this. Get past it. I'm sweating again. I'm fucking drenched.
Are we good, boys? We get it all out there?
I might have to take a liquid IV. I'm losing a lot of water. A lot of perspiration. A lot of shit going on over here. Go ahead. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to run through some other trades that happened, and hopefully I can get through this without my screen glitching on me again. Guardians traded Ahmed Rosario to the Dodgers for Noah Syndergaard and cash considerations. Noah Syndergaard kind of had one of the more notable fall-offs of recent memory. And Rosario, he's still a pretty solid player. He'll have a lot to contribute to the Dodgers. And obviously the Dodgers, they're buying.
Yes.
Then the Twins, they exchanged pitchers with the Marlins, Jorge Lopez for Dylan Floro. Then the Mariners got another pitcher for their already stellar pitching staff. Honestly, they're one of the better pitching staffs in the AL right now. They just don't get any run support.
Yep.
They added another right-handed arm, Trent Thornton, to their roster. And another one I wanted to note here, the Dodgers traded for Kike Hernandez, who spent last year with what was believed to be a hip flexor, but I did a little bit of research on this. He actually had a hematoma in his core. And for those that don't know, a hematoma is essentially, it's just a bowl of concentrated blood on a muscle that just debilitated his core and his legs. He describes it as he couldn't really try and get off the field. He said he felt like he needed someone to carry him off the field last season. He missed 60 games because of it.
That procedure sucks.
For the most part, for the most part, he'd been a pretty solid player. He has been a pretty solid player throughout his career. He's still only 31 years old. Wow. So looking for a bit of a career revival with the Dodgers there. And then the last one I wanted to touch on, Atlanta, they get a couple of arms, Pierce Johnson and Tyler Hearn, to add to their already stellar pitching staff as well. So those are the big ones that came about today. As I was I did research on this at about 5 o'clock. So some other moves might have happened in between then and now, but those were the big ones. And I wanted to, well, any thoughts before I move on, fellas? I just have one other trade deadline thing I want to talk about, and then feel good of the week.
Bigger moves are coming.
Oh, yes.
Some good ones already, but some bigger ones are coming over the weekend and early next week. I'm excited for it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Keller and Bednar might be on the move.
Yeah. Still, it's funny, Trevor, just before you go, it's funny how you look at the other teams are, helping their pitching core. They're doing this, and then you got the fucking Pirates just fucking up. It just you actually see what an organization does.
We're looking to trade away our pitching core.
Right. It's just you see one organization that's just missing, and then you see the other organizations actually running a fucking baseball team. It's sad.
Right. Yeah.
All right, I got to get off it.
No, you're good. Actually, a couple teams I wanted to touch on here. The Padres are in a very weird situation right now. They have a loaded roster, but they're not winning.
Yep.
So I saw an article today, and the philosophy that the writer recommended for them was plan to buy, be ready to sell. Here's the thing. I don't know how much more the Padres can buy, because they got 3 guys on their roster with $250+ million contracts. Machado signed an 11-year $350. He's due to be a free agent in 2034. Tatis, 14 for $340, due to be an FA in 2035. And then Xander Bogaerts, who I believe they actually got in a trade, 11 for $280. He's due to be a free agent in 2034. And for shits and giggles, Yu Darvish, of all people, has a 6-year, $108 million deal. He's going to be a free agent in 29. And then Joe Musgrove, 5 years, $100 million, former Pirate, 5 years, $100 million, going to be a free agent in 2028. So I don't know what the Padres are going to do. The Padres, they just might Padre again, and they'll just peter out toward the end of the season, or I don't know. They're going to be they're going to have a busy deadline. I know that. They're going to have a very busy deadline. Not too much coming out of San Diego right now on the trade front. There will be a lot coming over the weekend, I think. But yeah, and I'll throw this out there too. The Yankees, they're rumored to be trying to go get Juan Soto, of all people. Just another bat to add to their lineup. And I wanted to touch on the Baltimore Orioles and what they're doing right now. Right now, they're leading the division by a game and a half. They've actually slipped by the Rays. Right now, they're in the top 10 in Major League Baseball in runs, RBIs, slugging, triples, and 12th in total bases. They can whack the shit out of the ball. And Matt Rutschman, obviously, he was in the home run derby. He was an all-star. Phenomenal. They have a great team. They have a great core. I don't know for how long they're going to be able to keep it together, obviously because of budget concerns. But I also wanted to touch on this. They really need pitching. And some of the names out there, and there's a lot of stellar names out there that are rumored to be on the trade block. Dylan Cease, Blake Snell, Verlander, and Scherzer are out there. One of your favorites, Drew, Marcus Stroman, is rumored to be on the trade block.
Fucking love him.
Lance Lynn's out there. Weird thing about Lance Lynn, he has an ERA over 6, but he has like the best whiff rate in the MLB. I don't know how that works, but then of course our Cardinals that I've touched on in a previous episode, Jack Flaherty and Jordan Montgomery, they might be traded as the Cardinals sell this year. And then just as well, another team that's probably going to be selling, the Tigers, Eduardo Rodriguez is out there for the Orioles to try and get some pitching and win the division for the first time since 2013, I believe. 2013, 2014, sometime in that range. But just the fact that they're doing what they're doing right now with, I believe, the second lowest payroll in baseball, or maybe even the lowest payroll in baseball. It's one of the 3 lowest. I know it's Pirates, Rays, and Orioles are the 3 lowest. I forget the order. But
I think Athletics are the lowest.
Or Athletics, yeah. Thank you. But yeah, a lot of guys out there. readily available. My money's probably on one of the Cardinals. I don't think they would. I don't think they would trade it within the AL. Flaherty, Montgomery. Yeah, it just seems like if they want to get Montgomery, he's gotten hot at the right time. Before his last start, he had a 1.48 ERA in his previous 8 starts. And then Flaherty in his past 11 starts, 3.13 ERA and a 2.5 strikeouts to walks ratio. So the Orioles expect a lot of moves from them as well. They need to bolster their pitching big time. And I think they have a good chance to make a run in a very competitive division too. Probably the most competitive in the MLB right now. And it's still true that I believe the Yankees are in last in that division right now. They would still be leading the AL Central.
Yep.
Wow.
But yeah, kind of on to like a feel-good type of a story here. The Cape Cod League in Boston, in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And Nate, I don't know if you've heard of this or not. I know you recently went on a New England tour. I don't know if you saw this or not. But this is just basically a 10-team. It's essentially a funnel league. It's a league with wooden bats for a lot of college guys. It's a summer league, and there's 10 teams in it that are all separated by about an hour and a half within Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Sorry, my mom was calling me. I had to reject her call.
All right.
But anyway,
oh, boy.
The shit happens when you're live, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, yes, it does.
Live podcasting.
We've had fire alarms. We've had everything. Oh, yeah.
No, I imagine, man. But anyway, this summer league, it kind of gets back to the roots of baseball, and it's I've been told it's very much like a high school baseball environment, but it kind of gets back to, just focusing on the game and, essentially the purity of it. So this Cape Cod League, it was founded back in 1885, if you can believe that. And there are games in the Cape Cod League actually dating back to the 1860s. It was officially formed in 1885, and it became a hub for local semi-pro teams, and especially hit a boom period after World War II when a lot of soldiers were coming back to the area. And one guy that was notable from those early years, Danny Deacon McFadden, who actually played 17 years in the majors. He pitched over 2,700 innings, had an ERA just under 4. He actually played for the Pirates for a season. And then he once finished 9th in NL MVP voting. But other than that, not a whole lot of notable guys coming out of there in those early years. But the NCAA has actually sanctioned the league. They did that back in 1963. And because of that, they came in, and there was a rule that essentially said, you're not allowed to recruit players outside of this area, outside of the Massachusetts local area. The NCAA came in, they said, to hell with that, recruit from anywhere, get anyone on your teams. Let's have some fun here. And even before that, and actually kind of keep going along with the history of it, it really hit another boom period again back in 1985 when Cape Cod League switched to wooden bats. Before that, believe it or not, it was actually Alaskan baseball leagues that had dominated the semi-pro scene. Wow. Yeah, I was astonished by that too. Baseball in southern Alaska. Who knew? I didn't. I can tell you that. But 1985, they say, hey, we're switching to wooden bats, and everybody's coming to Cape Cod now because it gives scouts a chance to really evaluate these players, see how they're going to be in a major league system and in the minor league system. And of course, it helps the players just kind of get used to things, get used to the feel of it, and just, be more pro ready coming out of that league. So in that league, the season's going on right now. There's 44 games, and then they have a little mini tournament at the very end. It's basically in between the end of the college season and the end of the minor league season is when their league takes place, and it's going on right now. And the thing I love about this too, this league is run entirely by volunteers.
Badass.
Volunteers that just absolutely that are just rock stars for this, in my opinion. From the ushers to the head administrators, I believe they're all volunteers.
Wow.
But yeah, so players, they're essentially recruited to these teams, and you can you live in the area with what's called a host family. And I went on the website. You can literally apply to become, if you're in the area, you can apply to become a host family for these future major leaguers that are just coming into your town and playing 44 games of baseball. I think that's very cool. I'm getting kind of caught up in the coolness, for lack of a better term, of it while I'm telling the story here. But yeah, these players, they come in, they stay with these host families for a couple months, play some baseball. And the thing I love too, admission's usually free. And people just bring their lawn chairs, blankets. Like I said, it's a very high school baseball-esque environment. It just looks so cool. And don't get me wrong too, the competition is pretty stiff. A lot of big MLB names came out of this Cape Cod League. Currently, Aaron Judge, Chris Sale, Alec Manoah, Pete Alonso, Kyle Schwarber, Aaron Nola, that Adley Rutschman that I just talked about, Shane Bieber, Corbin Burns, and Will Smith, all current MLB players that went through this Cape Cod League.
Wow.
And then some of the legends that have kind of gone through this, Frank Thomas, Jeff Bagwell, Nomar Garciaparra, Thurman Munson, Barry Zito, and Jason Varitek. And that's just what's on their about page.
Right.
Over 1,400 guys have gone through this Cape Cod League and then gone on to play in the major leagues.
Wow.
It's just,
It's cool.
I was kind of astonished once I dug into this, that something like this exists. But yeah, very cool. I almost forgot to share their league motto, and I guess they've stuck true to it with the history I just described, where the stars of tomorrow shine tonight. That's
awesome.
just cool.
Yeah, it is. It's badass.
To me, it doesn't get any cooler than that. You know,
No.
leave the money out of it, leave all the politics and the BS out of it. Let's just play ball. And it's quite the experience from what I've read for the fans and the players alike.
It's awesome.
If I ever go through a tour through the New Englands, I'll probably have to stop at Cape Cod. Hopefully these guys' season is still going on. It's only a league of 10 teams. And like I said, there's only 44 games, but just a little chunk of it where nothing interferes with the purity of baseball.
Right.
Yeah. So it's the premier college baseball league in the country. You know, big reason why that came to be was the South was just too dang hot from July to, September. So you got to play somewhere. Yeah. It freaking snows in New England until May,
Mm-hmm.
with Alaska and Canada. Some of the other best leagues in North America are Alaska and Canada too. Josh Mitchell played in Canada in the summer. It's very good baseball up there.
The Alaska Baseball League, pretty big as well. They were the ones that were originally dominating the scene until, like I said, Cape switched to the wooden bats, and weirdly enough, that changed the game. And like you said, now they're the premier summer league for college athletes.
Right. Yeah. To put it in perspective, you said 1,400 players have played in that league and gone on to play in the majors. Yep. So then about 30,000, give or take, players to ever play in the major leagues. And 1,400 of those 30,000 have played in that league.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Little 10-team league. Little 10-team league in Massachusetts.
Not to mention all the ones that went on to play minor league baseball and go over to Japan, South Korea, and leagues down in the Latin America and Central and South too. So
these guys get players from all over the world.
Yep.
all over the world.
Freaking awesome. Wow. Well, because there is a couple other football things. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to just put on the ticker here after hours conversation real quick. A couple things I want to throw up because you guys got me all pumped up here with the NFL talk. Did you see Jalen Ramsey? Jalen Ramsey will undergo surgery to repair torn meniscus.
Yeah. Trevor said he could be out more than half the season if things don't go well.
I mean,
yeah. Oh, I sent it. I just saw it. I forget what the timeline officially is for him.
6 to 8 weeks is what they expect.
6 to 8 weeks.
If they go in there and it's worse, then it could be 12
6
to
8.
16. Yeah, they could be like 12 to 16 if it goes in there and it's worse than they expect.
Jesus Christ.
Right.
And Rodgers might not play in the preseason.
Well, he shouldn't play. Why does he need to?
No,
Why put him out?
Why does he need to play?
I don't know.
You see the dots he's throwing to Garrett Wilson at practice. He didn't need.
Yeah, it was pretty good showing. I'll tell you that. But no, yeah. I mean, anything else, fellas? Throw in here ended that we didn't touch on. I feel like sometimes our conversations after it's better to have it in the show, and then where you're like, oh, well, we're done. Anything else you want to throw out there, Nate, Trevor?
No, I think we had another great episode. A lot of good stuff out there.
Okay.
Obviously more stuff to come with the NFL mostly. NBA is kind of crickets right now, other than a couple small things. MLB trade deadline heating up. So, next time around, we'll have a lot more trades to discuss and hopefully some more contracts to talk about. And unfortunately, it's going to happen, but injuries in the NFL are going to happen, and we'll probably talk about those as well. Kind of stinks that that's what ends up happening because there's no preseason games yet, but it's just the business of the NFL, unfortunately. But yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up for sure.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Trevor? Another quick thing on the injury front. Yeah. Joe Burrow, calf strain. He's dealing with that right now. Expected to miss, I think it's 2 to 4 weeks, something like that. So he could still be back for week 1. But yeah, dealing with a non-contact calf strain. And obviously he had the ACL before, so he has a history with non-contact injuries, and hopefully that doesn't derail him at all. But
I forgot to talk about Brock Purdy too. He got cleared, so he's as long as he believe he's the starter, so it looks like he's in line to start week 1. So good news for San Francisco.
Right on. No, and then one thing that popped up when we were talking here, and it just got reported, Dalvin Cook might be going to the Patriots.
He's been rumored to go to every single AFC East team.
I know. I just had to throw that out there. I don't think that he'll be in a Patriots uniform. I'm not really sure. The way the market is, like we talked about, fellas, I am not shocked by anything anymore. And then another running back, Zeke, Texas, the Cowboys running backs, which, I didn't see. I have it in there. Nate, do you know what he sent to them?
What do you mean? Like in terms of financially?
No, like what I guess, hold on here. Maybe I can look in the freaking article and not be a lazy. But hold on a minute. I thought there was like a cryptid thing in the message he sent to the running backs.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. I didn't get that, but
I don't think they don't say anything. But yeah, he contacted them.
I wouldn't be shocked if Dalvin Cook ended up with the Bills. He'd be playing alongside his brother in the same backfield, and they lost Hines for the season.
Right.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
And Damien has an injury history, so it would make sense. And I think that you might be able to save a little bit of money and say, Dalvin, you've already made your money. You can play with your brother. You can play for a winning team that's going to win a lot of games. We've won a crap ton of games lately, and there's been years where you've sniffed the playoffs or just got completely missed it. Here you got a chance to win this thing. So that's who I think he'll end up with. I feel strong about it now, especially with that Naheem Hines injury.
1 year deal?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Well, it has to be at this point.
You're right.
And I don't think this will happen. But I heard a rumor that he might go to the Jets as well.
He's been rumored to go to every single AFC East team.
I know. I know.
And that's what happens in that division. You get sucked in by one. You get sucked in by one team, and then you just cycle the wagon, and you go to every single one of them.
Yep.
Ryan Fitzpatrick did it. Dan Carpenter was with most of them. It's like, holy
Yeah.
crap, you guys. There's other teams. You're allowed to go to other teams. It's okay.
Right.
There are other divisions, guys.
Yeah, you can leave the AFC East. It'll be all right. Damon Harris is now involved with this carousel. He's
Yeah.
getting there.
Oh, Jesus.
Yep, he'll circle the wagon.
Yep.
Oh boy. Well, yeah. I mean, that's all I wanted to throw out there. I really liked. I feel bad that we went on that Rodgers tangent during the MLB, but I mean, we'll see what the Jets. I think that is the team that's really going to be in the spotlight. Highlight. Superstar quarterback comes in. Let's see what they do. Nate, you've said it. I think Trevor said it too. The critics are going to be hard on their asses if they, lose the first games here. So they better.
They're going to start 2-4. They're going to start 2-4. They have a very, very tough schedule ahead of them. I honestly forget what it is, but I believe they play the Eagles and Chiefs in that time span. If I'm not mistaken.
Right on. Well,
Yep.
yeah. Next week we'll throw out some. Fuck it. We'll just do it. We'll do some betting. We'll throw some betting things out there. Futures. We could do that. Throw out a little Super Bowl prediction. See who is going to win each division. We'll spice it up a little bit. Give people a little heat in their panties. Okay. So. But anything else, fellas?
No, I'm all good.
You all good, Trevor?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good.
You're good. All right. Well, we'll send it off here. A little after hours conversation for you folks out there. I want to say thank you again to AE Diesel Services. Alex Emmert, we appreciate you for sponsoring this episode. I want to thank the boys here, Trevor and Nate, taking time out of their day. And I want to thank all the subscribers and sponsors from, past and present now and all the listeners and viewers. So I appreciate it as always. All gas, no breaks. Stay safe out there. Have a good day. Have a good night. And God bless. And this was another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys. Thank you.